What would it take to gain your trust? All around the world, people exchange their ideas and personal beliefs. But what part of what they say is truth and what part is fiction? When we decide to learn something, we expect that the source of this knowledge is both honest and accurate. Without that, we have a hard time accepting any of the teachings. I have much I wish to share with you, but I realize that for you to accept these things, you must first trust the source. For starters, I want you to understand that what I'm sharing with you are not theories or thoughts of my own. I didn't decide one day to sit down and write a book about my personal feelings on the world and who we are as humans. The truth is something that stands the test of time, and this is where I borrow my words from. What is a trustworthy source? We all must decide for ourselves what things we want to believe and what things we reject. Generally speaking, though, a trustworthy source can provide a thorough, well-reasoned theory, idea, or argument based on strong evidence. It helps to know if the source has been scholarly or peer-reviewed and tested for its accuracy and authority. Who wrote the information, and how does it align with other sources based on the same idea? It is something you can scrutinize and dissect for yourself to see if it holds up to these standards. There are very many reasons why the source I use is a trustworthy one. For example, would you be able to trust a book that was written more than 1600 years ago and to this day maintains a faithful and accurate message? The earliest manuscripts date as far back as 2700 years, in fact. We're willing to believe books written in this same decade by unknown people who have no track record of success. So why not this one? What if it was a collection of different books written by 40 different authors, who are all from different geographical locations, penned at very different periods of time, using different languages, but all referencing a consistent concept? Let's go even deeper here. The same book has been translated into more than 700 different languages worldwide, has the most surviving copies of any ancient manuscript in history, and even has its own surviving people, culture, and nation. There's more. The same book records multiple eyewitness testimonies of events that took place during those times, and were written very shortly after. There are also more than 35 external sources outside of this book that refer to the events taking place within. Throughout our human history, there have been literally millions, if not billions, of people from every race, nation, and language who have come to trust the teachings that are shared from this book and have experienced a deeper interconnection to the Creator because of it. Now that you know a little more about this trustworthy source, what book specifically am I referring to? Well, only the best-selling book in all of human history to date. Though honestly speaking, knowledge that leads to an absolute shift in the very essence of man should be free. I'm referring to none other than what we know as the Holy Bible. This book is known throughout the world as a source of unbridled wisdom, poetic inspiration, and unforgettable stories. Despite this being true, how many of us have actually sat down and read the whole thing through from front to back and over again? Statistics state that only an 11% of people living in the United States read their Bible on a regular basis. The numbers are pretty low. Still, if you knew that a book had the power to change your life, what's stopping you from reading it? In my experience, the answer to this question is fear. So many of us are afraid to read the scriptures because we've heard all kinds of tall tales from friends, relatives, or neighbors about what the Bible is and what it can do to a person. We fear learning about the origins of our species and about the higher powers at play because it can make many of us feel small and lost. We fear that though we read the words, we may not fully understand them. We fear that somehow the truths hidden within will shed a light on the darkest part of ourselves and lay bare those things hidden inside of us all. The truth is that all of these fears are legitimate. The Bible is in fact not an ordinary book that one can simply read through and expect to gain enlightenment at the end of the final page. It is a God-inspired divine appointment and a look into the heart of our Creator who shares His breath with us. Yet, what a tragedy it would be for you to miss out on what lies within the pages of this book of life. With that in mind, wouldn't it make more sense to at least try? You now know what the source is and isn't. Maybe you don't have to be so afraid. Just maybe, the information I've provided for you will help ease your mind and allow you to put some trust into the source. What better way to learn about something you don't know than by reading about it yourself firsthand? Still, If it's much too soon for you, or if you still aren't sure, please rest assured that I am here for exactly this purpose. I want to share with you what I've learned from it and how it has changed my life and the lives of so many people around the world, both in the past and even today. Speaking of trust, how do you know you can trust me to share this message faithfully? Firstly, I have no immediate personal or monetary gain from sharing this wisdom with you. I do this with my own time, effort, and money because of how drastically it has changed me as a person, and my deepest desire is for you to experience the same. Secondly, I consider myself a disciple of the Creator and a follower of the way. I am by no means perfect, but this book is a law to me and my inner self. I strive to live my life by these teachings, and one such teaching etched in stone reads as, "Thou shalt not lie." Lastly, I don't expect you to take everything I say at face value. Some things are better understood by experience, and most importantly of all, you can go on Amazon right now and get your own copy of the Bible. Feel free to critique what I say and correct me if you find anything I've said does not line up with the teachings. I won't shy away from it, and in fact, I welcome it if it helps lead me to more truthful knowledge. I think it's fair to say that this is about the best I can do in reaching out to you and asking for your time. If at the end of the day this isn't something you want to hear about, I can wholeheartedly understand your position. However, if I have succeeded in planting even the smallest seed inside of your mind or heart, please consider staying put here and hearing some teachings that can lead you to a higher understanding. One thing I can promise you is that you will not leave the same way you came. If God has the power to change someone like me with all my faults and failures, He can certainly change you as well.